Fruits of the Holy Spirit. And today we come to the fruit of gentleness. And underneath that word gentleness are there's a Latin word and a Greek word from which we get the word that we translate. The Latin is mansuetudo, and in Greek praortes. And this is a characteristic of Christ himself. When I spoke a couple of days ago, I talked about how the gifts of the Holy Spirit and the fruits of the Holy Spirit are ultimately, the characteristics and the features, the personality traits of Jesus himself. And it's the same for the gift of gentleness. We hear the Lord say, he describes himself in this way. He says, "Learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart." And so here that word gentleness, mansuetudo, is translated as meek. It's also used to describe Jesus when he enters into Jerusalem on Palm Sunday. "See, your king comes to you, gentle, meek, and riding on a donkey." So gentleness is synonymous, it means the same thing as meekness. Meekness is the ability to maintain interior and exterior calm in all situations. The ability to maintain interior and exterior calm in all situations. And it's for this reason that St. Thomas Aquinas talks about meekness in contrast to the vice of wrath or anger, which is the passion that fills us with inner chaos and exterior chaos as well. Meekness enables us to remain calm under pressure, even in the face of great injustice, and also enables us to avoid provoking resentment and anger in others. So it keeps us from anger and resentment, the things that unsettle our hearts, and it also prevents us from inciting those things in other people. I mentioned that the fruit of meekness or gentleness is, like all the other fruits, a characteristic of Christ himself. But it's also a characteristic that Jesus saw modeled in his mother. The Italian poet Dante Alighieri is famous for his Divine Comedy, which is not very funny at all. It's called a comedy because it's a drama. But it has three parts: the Inferno, the Purgatorio, and the Paradiso. And he talks about the three different aspects of eternity. And in the Purgatorio, where he talks about purgatory, Dante depicts a vision of meekness. He's reflecting on what meekness is, and he has this great vision, this sort of imaginative depiction of what meekness looks like. And he writes that he sees persons in a temple and a woman about to enter with the tender attitude of a mother, saying, "My son, why have you done so to us? Behold, your father and I sought you, sorrowing." And of course, we know that Dante is here referring to that moment when Mary and Joseph find the child Jesus in the temple. So Dante is trying to say that the way Mary reacted in that situation is an example of meekness, if not the example of meekness. Put yourself in that situation. 3 days, having lost your child in the middle of a massive city, you'd be full of inner confusion, turmoil, chaos, anger, frustration. I mean, even if you lose your kids in the shopping centre for a few minutes, usually you get pretty angry with them when you find them. And yet, when Mary sees Jesus after 3 days of having lost him, there's no hint of anger, no hint of resentment, no hint of inner turmoil, simply the desire to understand what he's doing. And that's what meekness can do for us too. Transform us. It can transform us from people who respond out of resentment and frustration and anger to the things around us that we don't understand, and the way people act around us that we don't understand or that we don't like. Meekness enables us to overcome resentment and anger. It enables us not to lose our peace when people act towards us with anger or injustice. And therefore it enables us always to keep the presence of Christ within us. I think the meekness is a fruit of the Holy Spirit, that it's an antidote to so many of the world's troubles. Everyone is searching everywhere for ways to find peace, inner peace, calmness, relaxation, mindfulness. The answer is allowing the Holy Spirit to flourish within us, so much so that we cultivate the gift of meekness, which enables us always to trust in the Lord in the face of whatever difficulties might come our way.